In this video, I'm going to be reviewing my 2022 year and setting some goals for the year ahead. Hi guys, I have not filmed a YouTube video in a very long time, so I thought what better way to get back into it by filming a 2022 review video and sitting down and setting some goals with you as well for the next year. This is, I think, the third time I'm doing a goals video, and it's the second time I'm reviewing the past year. I'm really excited to see what goals I set last year because I cannot remember, and also obviously see if I achieved any of them as well. So it's just going to be a nice, cosy, chatty video, so grab yourself a cup of tea or any beverage of choice, of course. We're going to start off by watching my 2022 goals video together. I haven't watched this since I recorded it, so I can't 100% remember what I said. I know that there's a couple of goals that I have definitely achieved, which have been at the forefront of my mind, but I'm excited to see what I have or have not achieved. Before I dive into watching it, I just want to say a huge thank you to you for just being generally supportive. It has been a massive year in business for me. Lots of big, scary steps and leaps, but it's going really well so far, and I just couldn't do it without you. So I just wanted to say a huge, huge thank you.
Let's jump into 2022 goals. So the first one is about my products, and it's a goal from last year, but I want to adapt it and take it further. And that is creating products that people instantly recognise are from Blink Lettering. I want to have more of a specific style, which I've started developing in the past year. But with that, I'd like to start creating more product ranges. So for example, this matching wall planner and notepad. I'd like to bring out a couple of other projects to match this styles.
Okay, so I did not do that at all. I had full intentions of bringing out a Christmas collection. I also have an idea for a collection of prints as well, and I just have not done that. A big part of that is because I mainly shifted my focus into teaching and creating a whole new course. And actually, this is something I will discuss later in my 2023 goals, but I am now wondering whether the product side of stuff is right for Blink Lettering, not necessarily right for me. I absolutely love creating stuff like that, but whether it fits into Blink Lettering as a business is something that I'm really starting to think about. So I didn't hit this goal. I've beat myself up about it probably for the last couple of months, but in the last few weeks I have kind of become at peace with it because I've really started thinking about what I want from my business. So first goal did not hit.
I have a whole range suited to this style. Staying with greeting cards, I'd like to bring out a range of greeting cards in different styles. So that's quite a big goal for me this year, is just to kind of streamline my products. I have an awful lot of products on my Etsy shop that just don't sell, and also don't feel like resonates with me as a person anymore, and a brand. So that is number one. And that leads nicely into the next goal, which is launch my shop, which was obviously a goal for...
I didn't do that either. Again, because product side of stuff took a back seat, I felt like there wasn't a need to launch a shop on my website. And again, I'm not saying that I won't have a shop on my website, but I'm kind of thinking about how that will look over the next year. So it's another one of the things I've beat myself up about all year that I haven't achieved, but actually I'm really starting to kind of shift my thinking with it. So goal number 2, I did not achieve it.
Next goal, which I'm pretty confident will happen, it was something that I was actually meant to do at the end of the year just gone, and that is create my Better Brush Letters Finding Your Style course.
I did that through lots of blood, sweat and tears. Not actual blood, but there was definitely sweat and tears. I launched my Better Brush Letters Finding Your Style course towards the end of this year, and I am so proud that I have done that. It has been something that I've been wanting to do for a couple of years now, but creating a course takes up so much time, and doing that while working full time was just not an option. So I did it. I'm very proud. I'm looking forward to seeing where I can take it in the future as well.
Next one is doing more in-person events. And this isn't necessarily craft fairs. I don't feel like craft fairs is quite suited to my business. However, I'd love to start doing workshops again. I was doing them quite a lot.
Okay, I did this as well. So I have done a mixture of workshops, in-store calligraphy, and also window displays is something I kind of see as like in-person events. And it has been such a fun year. I started off the year teaching a workshop for the British Naturist Society. So that was teaching a room of 30 naked people, which was like just a mad experience. I've also done in-store engraving at Bobby's this year with Scarlet and Pearl, which has been amazing, and that is happening again next year. And I've done some of my own workshops, as well as been hired to do workshops for corporate events and shopping centres, which has been incredible. I have really enjoyed getting back into doing in-person events again and teaching people in person as well. I love my online courses. I love being able to teach people around the world, but there's just something about teaching in person that just kind of sets my soul on fire. It just feels so good. So this was another goal that I managed to achieve, and I think this is something that has actually contributed to me really changing my mindset on my business and where I want it to go as well.
Before the world went to poop, and I've done a couple this year. I feel like my confidence has gone a little bit from doing them, so I want to get my confidence back up, and I'd love to do some more workshops, especially in Bournemouth and Newbury. But I thought it'd be really cool to at some point do some workshops in other parts of the country. I don't know how possible that.
Okay, that is definitely something that I haven't done, but I would love to do. I would really love to do workshops all around the UK. This is something that I am kind of looking into the logistics for. Whether that's in the next year or not, I don't know. But if you would like me to teach a workshop in your local town, then do get in touch, because if there's enough interest in a specific area, then it means I can travel up there and do a workshop there, and I'd absolutely love to do that.
That might not be for this year, that might be something to plan for this year and do next year. And as well as workshops, I'd love to do talks as well. I've been on quite a few podcasts this year and I've really enjoyed that, and I'd love to actually do more talks, perhaps at universities. It's something I've been considering doing, contacting my old university, which is the Arts University Bournemouth.
So I didn't do any talks this year. It just wasn't at the top of my priority in the end. However, I am in talks with my old university now. They actually reached out to me, and I'm doing something very exciting in this coming year, which I just can't wait for.
Okay, so the next thing, and it's something that I really struggle with. It's kind of being productive with my time, and it's something that I have got a lot better with in the past year. But my goal for this year is to create a structured week. I've already started doing that with having the Fridays off.
I have not done that. I still feel like I'm a tornado, just chaotically moving through time and space. I am looking to kind of see how I can improve on that. There's some personal aspects that I am looking into. But yeah, I don't feel like I've set up a structured work schedule this year. But that is definitely something that I really do want to try and achieve.
Okay, so for my next goal, it's basically build a more engaged audience. So for my goals last year, I spoke about a few targets, like with YouTube. I no longer am too fussed about the number of like followers, for example. The thing that I've noticed in the past year is engagement has dropped massively. And obviously, it's been a weird year. I think a lot of people have had this happen to them. So for me, I just want to build a more engaged audience who resonate with what I do. And
So I feel like my engagement has just got worse over the past year, but I know that I'm not the only one who's in that position. Obviously, people are allowed to go out more and they're not on their phones as much. So I feel like I haven't really achieved this goal, but I think part of it is because I haven't been very intentional with it. I need to actually be a bit more intentional with how I use social media. I am a very all or nothing person, so I will be very consistent for a while and then I just suddenly not do anything at all, and that just does not look good. In terms of an engaged audience, I am starting to see more and more the people who really interact with me all the time, and I'm really appreciating those people. I'm really appreciating you, because you who is watching this now is one of those people, and I'm really starting to kind of make sure I'm giving those people more time, talking to them in DMs and replying back to comments. So I am really starting to see a very loyal community, which I really, really love. But I'd love for that to grow a little bit more, especially in terms of teaching people calligraphy and growing my student community base. But yeah, I feel like this year, in terms of growing engagement, it has not been the one.
I just want to build a bigger community. I've already built a lovely community on the lettering side, but something I'd like to do as part of this goal is set up a Patreon. Now, I know that was something that I said I couldn't do last year.
I have not set up a Patreon. Again, part of that was due to time issues, but also I'm very aware that... Sorry, I'm really distracted by a cat. I'm also very aware that Patreon has been a tough platform to be on for people who are existing creators on there. I know people like Emily Harvey Art have really had a fluctuation on how many people are supporting them. So I just felt like this year was not the right time to set up a Patreon. Whether I do go down that route or not now, I actually don't know. I have a few thoughts in the back of my head, but I did not do that this year. And actually that was very intentional. It wasn't that I just didn't get around to it. I just felt like it wasn't the right time for me or for my audience.
But I feel like it's something that I can do this year. And that kind of leads me on to my next goal. And that is going full-time self-employed.
I did that. Ooh, I don't know why that just got me really emotional. I think because it wasn't just a goal for this past year, that's just been a goal. Hang on. I was not expecting to cry then. Whew. Going full-time self-employed has basically been my goal since I started Blink Lettering. So achieving that in the past year, it's just... I still pinch myself sometimes. I still can't believe it. It has been it's been one of the best decisions of my life, but it's also been one of the hardest. There are definitely lots of new worries I have now that I am full-time self-employed, but I did it. I did it.
Which is a massive thing for my business. That would be like the biggest thing that's ever happened in my business, is if I can leave my job and become full-time self-employed. I don't know how that will necessarily look. It's not necessarily quit my job just so I can do Blink full-time. I already have quite a few multiple revenue streams, And that's something that's really important to me. I also work full-time as a graphic designer, and that's not a skill I want to lose. So it might be a mix of doing freelance graphic design work for agencies and, yeah, working on my business. But basically, I need more time to do fun activities, and the only way that is possible is to no longer work full-time. If that's the only goal I reach this year, then I will be happy. So happy. That kind of leads on to what I'd like to do with my business when it comes to that point of becoming full-time self-employed. I need to look more at my brand strategy, my brand positioning. I've obviously mentioned that I'd like to do some freelance work for agencies, but that wouldn't necessarily be under Blink Lettering. I'd also love to do more branding work for small businesses. I've done a few small businesses in the past, like my friend Lou's business, Not Another Swank.
So that is something I haven't really... I kind of have. I have intentionally created a separate business for my graphic design. So as a graphic designer, it's Millie Withers Design. I haven't really done much with that in terms of my own work. I'm basically working as a freelance graphic designer for other companies, and it has massively helped bring money in, support me, reduce the money stress as well. So I haven't really had the time to kind of develop that side of it further. But that's not to say that I won't be. It just wasn't a priority this year. The priority for me after quitting my job was to ensure that I had enough money coming in and to just enjoy myself a little bit. Working full time, running a business for 6 years was a lot, and I just needed some fun time. And that's exactly what this gave me, was time just to see friends and family and relax a little bit.
I do have a couple of personal goals though, and I just thought I'd share them now. One of them is definitely going to be achieved very soon, and that is getting a dog. I have wanted a dog.
I got a puppy. Hey, gorgeous girl. I got a puppy. You were one of my goals for this year. Oh, you're giving me a cuddle. So that was one of my personal goals for this year, and it happened. This is the beautiful Raven, and I love her very much. Okay, she's just looking out the window. Are you going to stay here looking out the window? Oh, she's seen a cat.
And part of the reason I started Blink and running a business is because I wanted to build a life where I could work from home and have a dog. The next goal is to go outside every day, and hopefully when we do get a dog, that will be a lot easier. I'll have the motivation to go outside every day. This doesn't necessarily mean like vigorous exercise, but just to get out and about, get some fresh air, even if it's a rainy day.
It's definitely not been every day, but I have been outside a lot more, and it has just done wonders for my mental health. It has been so good. Okay, so those were my goals for 2022. I didn't achieve all of them, but as I had said in that video, if all I achieved in 2022 was to go fully self-employed, then I'd be happy. And I did that, and I am so proud of myself for being able to do that. It hasn't been easy. I didn't just do it on a whim, but what it has done is really support my mental health, and it's enabled me to take on opportunities towards the end of the year that I just would never have been able to do as Blink Lettering if I was still working full time. So I am so proud of what I achieved with that. It has been a roller coaster of the year, but I'm really happy. Okay, so before we dive into the 2023 goals, let's have a little look at how my numbers have changed on social media in the past year. I have not set any number goals at all for this year, apart from just looking for more engagement. I do not want to set any numbers like that anymore. I don't think that's healthy for me, but I am interested to see how things have changed. And I think it's interesting for you guys as well to see how much things have changed. To be honest, not a lot at all.
I'm on 57,733.
Okay, so Instagram, I'm on 62,700 and I don't even know the exact number. 62,724. That was basically stuck at like 55 for most of the year. I actually lost followers. And then I got shared by a quite big calligraphy account, and that increased my numbers a lot. I think I shot up to something like 64, and it is slowly dropping again, which is just the story of my life on Instagram, just slowly dropping in numbers. But actually, I don't mind that because I don't want people following me who aren't interested in my content, because it doesn't help engagement, and that's why numbers aren't as important for me this year.
As of right now, this number has fluctuated between like 55 and 58,000 this whole year. TikTok, I'm on 484.6 thousand followers.
Okay, so TikTok I have neglected this year. So I'm on 461,000 followers. So I don't think that's really increased that much from last year. I haven't really touched it much this year, I'm not going to lie.
Which is just insane. TikTok's like a whole different ball game, and that's with 2.9 million likes. So I don't know what happened. I am also now earning money on TikTok, which is incredible. TikTok have a great...
I basically earn no money on TikTok anymore. I probably get like 1p a day, so it's definitely not making me rich.
And then YouTube, I'm on 2.59 thousand followers.
Okay, YouTube. I'm on 3.03 thousand followers on YouTube, which I'm very proud about. I did not realise I'd hit over 3,000 followers. So that's really exciting. I know I said it's not about the numbers, but actually for YouTube, I do really want to grow that. So that is exciting to see that it is growing.
Pinterest, I've already mentioned I'm on 7.3 thousand monthly views. And then...
We're not even going to look at Pinterest because I have not touched that for a very long time.
Mentioned Etsy is 1,762 sales.
Etsy, I'm on 1,985 sales, which again, I'm actually pretty happy about considering I haven't really been pushing my products this year. Before I dive into sharing my 2023 goals with you, I just want to say that I think there's going to be quite a big shift in my business this year. I've already touched on that little bit about whether products are right for my business, so whether my Etsy shop is right. I also want to be a little bit more intentional with how I run my business and who I run it for. Obviously I'm doing it for me, but who my target audience is, and be more intentional with the content that I create as well. So I think these goals are really gonna show you how I'm going to be realigning my business and the main focus areas for my business next year, and how it's gonna shift quite a bit. I already started being a little bit more intentional in my goal setting last year and keeping them really specific to that year, but I've gone and done that even more this year. So I've reduced the amount of goals I have, so it's really specific to this year. There aren't that many, but what I've also done is set some intentions on different areas of my business which will help me achieve those goals. So what I wanted to do first was share my goals for 2023, and then I'll share more about my intentions and how it will help me achieve those goals. So I have split my goals into business, money and personal for next year. I will be sharing all of the business goals with you, some of the money goals and some of the personal goals, the ones that kind of relate to my business as well, but some of them I'm just going to keep just for me this year. So the first business goal for me this year is build up YouTube so it can bring me a consistent income. YouTube is an area of my business that I really love. I love filming, I love editing, I love helping you guys. And I've seen that my review videos and tutorial videos are some of the most popular ones, and I'd love to create them more consistently for you. And in turn, I'd love for that to bring in regular income for me, whether that's through ad revenue, video sponsorships. I really want to be a bit more intentional with YouTube this coming year, so it can be a really big part of my business, basically. My second goal is to create at least one new course. I already have a course in mind that I do want to create. I just want to kind of plan it a little bit more. I have learnt a lot from creating my other courses, and I just want to adjust how I do things to make this as smooth as possible for launching new courses. But I would really like to launch one new course this year. Number 3 is build a resource area on my website that has lots of digital downloads. So that is going to be a mixture of free content and paid content. I just want to have a place on my website that people can go to that has a huge bank of resources for people wanting to learn calligraphy and lettering. So that is a really big focus. It's going to be quite like a long-term goal, I think. It's not all going to happen overnight, and I will slowly be building on that as well. I just want my website to be a hub where people can come to, basically. Number 4 is do more in-person events. So I definitely want to do more workshops. I've got some kind of lined up already. Dates to be shared soon, but I'd also love to do more in-store calligraphy events, more window displays for small businesses. I just want to get out and about more. I don't necessarily want to be at home all the time. I want to do more hands-on experiences as well. So that is a really big area I'm going to be pushing next year. I'm going to be reaching out to my contacts at the beginning of this year and seeing what can be done. But I'm quite excited for it. The final thing is a little bit more broad, but it's basically having a really clear work schedule. I've put in brackets no more evening or weekend work. I know that that's not going to always be reality because there might be certain events that I'm doing that do require evening or weekend work. But if, for example, I'm working on a Saturday, I'm giving myself a day off in the week rather than just continually working. Throughout November and December, I was very close to burnout. In fact, I think I was at burnout. There were many tears, many stresses. I worked way too much. There was one week where I had like 2 days of freelance work, I think 4 workshops and a day of engraving, and that nearly broke me. I loved doing all of it, but I just need to manage my time a little bit better. And I think having a proper work schedule will really help me out with that. So those are my 5 business goals for this year. There's some quite big ones. Most of them are kind of long-term throughout the year goals. And as you can see, it's shifting my business a lot more into kind of the teaching and demonstration aspects of calligraphy and moving away from the product areas. I want to have more flexibility with where I can work, which leads on to a personal goal later on, and when I work. And I feel at the moment, as much as I love my Etsy shop, whether that's right for me right now is something that I need to think about. Okay, so money goals. I have some personal money goals which I won't be sharing. But in terms of ones that kind of relate to business, the first thing is pay myself a regular monthly salary. I don't know what that will be at the moment. I'd ideally like it to be the same or more than I was getting paid as a full-time graphic designer. At the moment, I kind of just give myself money and I'm not really giving myself a set amount of money each month. So I want to be a bit more intentional with that. I then also want to have a backup savings pot, like an emergency fund pot, ideally £5,500. This is to help protect me as a small business if I'm ill or anything bad happens that I'm just not aware of in the future and I can't work for whatever reason. I want to have a backup pot of money there to protect me, basically. It's something that I've already started building on, but I want to have a set amount of money that I just don't touch, and it's not for like holidays or anything like that. It is for emergencies. And then the final thing I want to start doing with money is starting to invest. It's something that I'm starting to research a lot more. I'm reading a book called Girls That Invest. I feel like this is going to be a really valuable way of managing my money as a business and as a person, so that's why I'm sharing this with you guys. I think investment is something that is hugely underrated, especially within the younger female community. It's something that needs to be spoken about more, and that is something I'm looking to do more of with my money. And again, that's just to help support me as a small business. I'm not just relying on my business to bring me money. And then I have a couple of personal goals, but the main one that I wanted to share with you is to go away in our camper van by myself, but for work, which I know sounds really weird. Don't worry guys, I'm also looking to just have nice trips away without work. But I would love to just be able to drive into the New Forest or pull up next to the beach somewhere and just work from a different location for the day, maybe overnight. I also have a couple of small business friends that I would love to kind of go away with and have a mini work trip away with them in our camper vans. I think that would be so much fun, and this is why I quit my job, so I could be more flexible with where I work. So that is a massive goal for me this year. It doesn't have to be on a regular basis, even if I just do it once. I love that, but I'd love to build it into part of my routine, whether that is doing it once a month at the beginning of the month where I need to do admin bits and I don't want to be distracted, and this is why I'm kind of looking to shift my business a little bit more to give me that flexibility to work where and when I want. So those are my goals for this year. I'm very much looking forward to seeing if I can achieve them. I think all of them are very possible, and I feel confident achieving them as well, especially with the intentions that I have set too. So that leads me on to my intentions for the year, on how I'm going to work and how these will help me achieve my goals. So I was quite influenced by Emily Harvey Art's goal setting worksheet that she shared with her patrons, but I've kind of shifted it so the subject areas aren't goals but more intentions of how to work. So the 4 areas I'm looking at are productivity, financial, social media and skills. So in productivity, I want to start planning ahead more, quarterly, weekly, monthly. This will help me with basically setting a good work schedule, also reduce the amount of time I'm on my phone and batch my time together. So I'm hoping all of these things will help me achieve that goal of a more structured work week, a more structured work schedule, and therefore decrease how much I'm working in the evenings and weekends. So some of my financial intentions, and that's going to help me with saving money, paying myself a regular salary, and also starting to invest. So intentions for that are monthly accounting. So that is setting aside one day at the beginning of each month or the end of each month to do my accounts and be really aware of how much money I'm bringing in basically and where I'm spending my money, and being really careful with that. Work with an accountant to understand my tax forecast. I'm already doing this. This is why these are more intentions as opposed to goals. It's just how I want to shift my work habits basically. So I'm already working with an accountant and I'm hoping that that will help again with achieving my financial goals. And then just generally reduce business expenses. This is already happening quite a lot. I don't buy as much expensive equipment anymore, but also by shifting out of the kind of product part of my business, that could really help too. Social media, and this is mainly to help my goals for YouTube, but also just generally get a more engaged audience, which isn't a specific goal of mine, but it's obviously a goal of all small businesses. So planning my content a week ahead, so really kind of figuring out what I'm sharing on each day and not just kind of bumbling, just being a bit more organised. And along with that, batch creating content too. So again, I'm not just shoving stuff up that day. As part of this, just be more intentional with using social media. So that's a bit more structure on what I'm sharing. So a bit more clarity of why I'm sharing it, but also how I'm interacting with it as well. So I'm not just doom scrolling basically. And then my skills, I want to improve on my brand strategy, understanding this to help me with Blink lettering as a whole, but also to help me as a graphic designer. So that's quite separate to Blink lettering, but just have a bit better understanding of brand strategy as a whole. Secondly, I want to learn more about YouTube keywords and best practices. This is obviously going to massively help me achieve my goal of creating a YouTube that brings me consistent income. It's not just about filming and editing videos. I really need to understand how it works as a whole platform. And then as part of these skills, I'd like to set aside 2 days a month to devote to learning basically. That doesn't necessarily have to be work days. If it's something that I do at the weekend, then I'd be okay with that. But I just want to be a bit more intentional with how I develop myself as a person. Again, feel like I just bumble along, and by actually being quite intentional with my learning, I think that will really help me achieve my goals, especially in building a consistent YouTube channel and just generally create content for you guys that helps you learn. So those intentions have really given me clarity on showing me that it will be possible to achieve my goals, and just giving me a bit more guidance on how to go about achieving them and not just being like, these are my goals, who knows if they'll achieve them. So I just want to start being more intentional in general. What's massively helped is I've actually put all my goals and intentions onto a Notion dashboard. Notion is something I've been using for the past year. It is a really powerful tool and I want to start using it more, and that's going to massively help with a clear work schedule, for example. But having it all written down like that digitally is really beneficial, but it also means that I can tweak stuff. These are goals that I'd love to achieve for the next year, but if I need to tweak them, then that is okay. Just like this past year, I realised that Patreon was not a goal for me. My goals might shift throughout the year, especially as my business shifts quite a lot, so it'll be really intriguing to see what happens this time next year. You should start seeing my face a lot more on YouTube. So if you are interested in more review videos, tutorials, then please let me know in the comments below the kind of videos that you'd love to see. I'm definitely going to be a lot more intentional with YouTube this year, and I just can't wait to dive into it a little bit further. I love teaching and helping people, so I just really can't wait for what the year ahead has to bring. If you want to follow along with my journey, then please do hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys very soon for another video. Bye!